Boom. That should be it. Let me also start recording. There. Remember to start recording at the last minute. Okay. People should hear us in about 7 to 14 seconds. So, welcome everyone to live news for September. The year is going fast.
The next one we do is October, deep in the fall. November, December done.
What else is what else is happening in October? In fact, just this weekend, next weekend. Mr. Scotty Muldoon will be over here.
Happening?
That should be it. Let me also start recording. It wouldn't let me do it before, and I thought, I must remember to do that later when we go live.
I thought you were battling some kind of delay there or something.
Yeah. Yes, so welcome everyone. There's a couple there in chat already. Mike Garcia's there and Spinal is there for a change. So hello Spinal. And Spinal's been doing some inventing. If you go into our Discord channel, link is on the website. You will see what Spinal has invented for the Evercade. So I got a fuck ton of
Casey did.
Yes. Yeah.
So okay, the Evercade is something that because I mean this may appeal to other listeners. I also was going to ask you what it is, and since Spinal's in chat and you're right here, Mike, the Evercade, it's not something I've ever investigated because it's just not a route I would go. But my understanding it was kind of like an out of the box, ready to go product, and he's printing a case for. Is he consoleizing the cabinet's interior or PCB or what's going on there?
So the video he posted in Discord didn't give too much information. I think it's about 8 seconds long.
I noticed.
Basically, he's made a cartridge case with 2 micro SDs in it and a switch so you can toggle between, I guess, whichever one's running. And I'm imagining it's loaded up with either game ROMs or emulators, maybe a mix of both. Maybe he can tell us in chat. But it's basically a homebrew cartridge that he's made, and you can switch between the 2 SD cards.
Yeah, I did a similar deal on my Pi that's in my streamer box. So basically, if I go to SD card A, it boots up and it becomes a RetroPie. If I boot it up again with the other SD, it becomes a streaming box with all the streaming stuff. So. That way I can keep it kind of 2 distinct SD loads that I can modify one independent of the other and don't have to screw around with any multi-boot and stuff.
Yeah. So does he's in there in chat now. So does it only work on the handheld Spinal or does it work in the consoleized version as well? Because originally the Evercade was just a handheld and now it's... I've got the windy pops. And now it's not. So does it only work in the handheld? Do you need to print a different case for the console? Will it work in the console? The answer to all these questions and more in this week's exciting episode of Soap.
I don't know. I just it's never something that really appealed to me because I already have 10,000 great ways to play all my ROMs in one spot. But I don't know. I mean, and especially the way they dole it out. Well, you could have this assortment of games here, this assortment of games here, but I already have 8,500 ready to go. What do I want your assortments for,
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's a mainstream product for people who don't fuck about with stuff the way we do. But, yeah, the likes of us have got 1,000,001 ways to do what the Evercade does. So, a fuck ton of stuff to update you on. Just before I do, though, I've got someone who wants to say hello to Spinal. If I just do that, and then do that.
And then that's hello Spinal, how you doing? Hey, nice to see you in live chat again. It's been a while, old fella. I see you pissing around with the Evercade and all that stuff. Classic Spinal, doing stuff for handheld consoles and all that. And he rode up, on with the show.
There you go, a little visitor for Spinal. I know he's a big fan. He was asking for his return, so there he was. UK Derek, briefly. So what's he said? The Evercade cartridges.
Funny enough, yes. There's an important line in there, Mike.
What's that?
Very important line here. Emulators will only work on some models because they added security later on. Later on is a euphemism for post-purchase.
Yes.
Meaning they disabled something that you bought, which I am, let's put it gently, fucking tired of.
Yeah. Oh, well. Maybe you can work around it again in the future. I mean, it's software fighting software, isn't it? So, maybe.
How
I
about
don't
you
know.
just don't do these things?
Yeah. Anyway. Yes, a fuck ton of stuff to update all the good people on. So, let's get cracking. There is a fourth grandchild in the Maguire/James household. So, my eldest daughter gave birth to another son, her third and final child. Luca, who was born on August the 31st. So, there's now 4 grandchildren to think about, as well as all the 6 children to think about. So we are an ever-growing family. And there'll be more on the way soon. In this last month, seems a while ago now, because done quite a bit, but was it 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago? A few of us went down to RMC The Cave. So there was myself, there was Adi, there was a friend of his called Dion, a friend of mine as well called Dion, and Gareth. And we all went down there. We stayed in Stroud, so we got Airbnb accommodation and went over to the cave. So the way it works, you got to book in advance. They only have limited numbers they can have in there. I think it's 40 for fire eggs and stuff. So you book a slot to go in the cave, and you get 3 hours in there, like 11 till 2, I think it is, something like that. And then we also booked 3 hours in the Arcade Archive, which is in the same building, just downstairs, and you get 3 hours in there as well. And Holly was good enough to show us around the project they're currently working on, which I think their last video, if you watch RMC The Cave on YouTube, they showed you the pump house and the work they're doing in there. We got to see all of that, and it's even a month ago, it was more advanced than it is on the video. So the videos are a little bit behind, but they will catch up at some point. But a good trip. I mean, it's a great place. It's like, if you've ever watched, it used to be called Retro Man Cave. Now it's RMC The Cave. If you've ever watched those videos on YouTube, the production quality is always super high. Neil always loves to wear a jacket. He's well dressed. It's well presented. Good information. I don't watch every single video, but the ones I do watch, I do enjoy. But it's like you walk in there, and it's like walking into like a friend's living room or something. It just feels so familiar. But it's as a museum, it's just so well done. Like, every exhibit has been thought about. There's information about it printed in a presentable way. There's different glass cabinets with different hardware that's all kind of related, perhaps. And there's, like I say, enough systems and room for like the 40 people that are in there, but it's not overloaded. Like, not every flat surface is covered with systems and things. It's just enough to keep those 40 people thoroughly entertained. There's lots of little nooks and crannies, little rooms, little areas they've created, with stud walls, little displays. That it's all about the presentation. It's just really well done. So if you can get yourself down there, I highly recommend it. There's a great cafe just up the road, and this cafe must be rubbing its hands together, because we dropped down there, I think like 10 o'clock, went and had breakfast there, and the cafe was full of people waiting till 11 o'clock to go to the cave. And then like 2 o'clock we all came out, and I think was it 10 till 1 or 11 till 2? Anyway, whatever it was. After the 3 hours, you come out, and everyone goes back down to that cafe and orders lunch, and then you go back again. It's just The two businesses just work really well together, and it's walkable between the two. It's like 5-10 minute walk. It was great. So really good trip. We hung out, had a few drinks, had a couple of nice meals. Just good to catch up with people. Had a bloody awful journey down in the car. Just traffic. I drove down on a Friday, and going south through Birmingham on a Friday, just not good. And I left reasonably early. But just terrible journey down, but a good journey home anyway. What else? So since we last spoke, school started back 3 weeks ago, I think, and that has just been awful. Just like, you get the usual stuff of teachers and kids coming back to school after 6 weeks. Everyone forgets what to do. Everyone forgets the password. So you've got all that stuff. But a lot of our services, so we have Office 365 for everyone, and we have some other, sort of central school systems, but they're hosted on Microsoft servers as well, and Microsoft just could not handle the load. I don't know what was different this year. I know they'd done some work over the last few years. Because of GDPR, a lot of Microsoft data was stored in the US, and then Europe said, oh no, GDPR, we've got to store European data in Europe. So I don't know if they've just shut a big fat pipe off or something, I don't know. But Microsoft could not handle the load that even our school were giving them. And granted, every school in the country is probably, hammering them at the same time, but it just did not work out this year. You
should change your new password, the default password, to "It's only been 6 weeks."
Yeah, I know, yeah. Just a terrible return to work, which makes me all the more keen to just get out of the rat race. But anyway, I've got a question. How much beetroot is too much beetroot? So, I love beetroot, and I bought some the other week.
What's the word, Michael?
What word?
That you're saying. I literally don't understand the word you're saying.
Beetroot, the vegetable. Beetroot.
Oh, beetroot, as in the roots of the beet plant.
The big purple vegetable that you roast or pickle.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were saying beetroot or what. What the fuck's a beetroot?
So
English, motherfucker.
Yeah, speak English. So I love beetroot. Anyway, I bought some, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and it was starting to just turn a little bit, so I thought I've got to cook all this before it goes bad. So anyway, I cooked it, mixed it up with a couple of other things, threw it in the oven, roasted it, and ate it. And this was, I think, 4 days ago. I'm still pissing red. It's ridiculous. It's not blood, I know it's not blood because it started off purple. It's still happening. So I don't know how much beetroot is too much beetroot. Be careful, people.
In the Army we had mandatory urinalysis, right? Mm-hmm. And it was allegedly random. It was allegedly surprise basis and all that. But the way it really worked is you had a person in the unit that is called the Alcohol and Drug Control NCO, and it's a additional duty. So let's say you're a tractor mechanic, right? You might also be the Alcohol and Drug Control NCO. So basically you had to run the piss test. So you were told, your first sergeant would tell you, hey, you're conducting a piss test next Tuesday, and that's on a Wednesday, So on Monday morning they would tell you, because they couldn't tell you, hey, we got a piss test the next morning, right? Mm-hmm. So what they would always do is they would say, tomorrow morning you should probably drink a lot of water. And that was the secret thing of, okay, there's a piss test tomorrow. Not because, you were going to try and, sketch past it, because, drugs weren't a thing when I was in. Nobody, it wasn't a thing. Mm. But they still do, drug testing, right? But if you're, hot, for some reason, you're not going to be clean overnight by some miracle, right? So it didn't matter if they told you. So, and we never had anybody ever come up, positive anyway. Yeah. But we would get out there. So Monday evening, we'd have like a formation. They tell us, hey, tomorrow morning, drink a lot of water. Don't go to the bathroom. So we all knew it was up, right? So my buddy, Troy, he was stuck with, he was the ADNCL, and he hated it, right? One, he just really hated, like, watching dudes pee, which, I mean, is understandable. And, but he had also, one time, he and I went out to lunch downtown in Kaiserslautern, and I had this salad, and he goes, fucking asparagus, I hate that shit, right? And I thought, duly noted. So I went to the grocery store next to my house, and I bought, dude, the biggest bundle of asparagus you've ever seen in your life, like monstrous, like, pounds of it. And I didn't have anything else for dinner. I just sat there watching Sky. I was actually watching Euro MTV, Zig and Zag, and Sky News off my satellite. I'm just sitting there munching on asparagus sticks, watching Sky TV. And the next day I go in, and oh my God, dude. I mean, it was awesome. We fucking line up. I go into the pisser, and, I start pissing in this fucking bottle. And I hear Troy. It's like, he's like, you motherfucker.
Are you taking the piss? No, but you are.
Glorious.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, we went to stay with a couple of Paula's friends for the weekend, and the guy is really interesting. I would have loved to have taken Scott over there, but I've got loads of pictures to show him when he comes over here, and stuff to talk about that he will be interested in. But basically, this guy, his dad was an engineer, big into building static engines, building all sorts of models of fairground rides and stuff like that. And this guy who we went to see, inherited that ability and interest. But 10 years ago, I think it was, he had a motorbike accident while racing. So he lives near Mablethorpe, which is over on the Lincolnshire coast. And the tide goes so far out and the beach is so flat. When the tide's out, they put cones out in an oval and they do speedway racing on the beach. And he used to do that. And then one time, he doesn't know what, but something went wrong. And his head made contact with the only concrete stump on the beach. So horrendous head injury, in a coma for a long time. And now is only partially sighted. But still into, model building and stuff. He can't really do the full-scale stuff anymore. So, he does models instead. But still does, like, racing challenges. He's got 2 world records, like the fastest partially sighted man on 2 wheels with an engine, 2 wheels on electric, and all sorts of stuff. So does lots of stuff. Just a really interesting guy. So we hung out with them for the weekend. And that was pretty cool. He showed me around his workshop and, all the stuff he did. He's also into ham radio now as well. So just needs to keep himself busy. But, yeah, interesting guy. So if you want to check him out, also, you'll find him on YouTube as Blind Bloke Racing. So you'll see him doing his challenges. He's been on the BBC quite a lot. He's been on ITV, I think Sky as well, maybe. Because he'll go and do these challenges, and they'll go and film him. It's like, a couple of minutes article at the end of a news broadcast kind of stuff. But he also does, what's it called?
Holding both the records for fastest man, pre and post collision.
yeah. Not on the same day.
Along with NBC News.
He also does the control line racing as well. Not racing, control line flying of planes. Or used to. He can't really do it anymore because his lack of sight makes him more dizzy. So he did do a challenge on the news to do it again. Because he used to love it so much. So he showed me all his control line stuff as well. Anyway, check him out on YouTube if you're interested in that. On to some TV shows. I watched the first season of Andor a long time ago when it first came out. It was all right. Started season 2. I've got about 4 or 5 episodes in. I thought, why am I doing this? I'm just not enjoying it. I don't know. It just lost me. I wasn't the biggest fan of season 1, and I don't like giving up on stuff, but if it's just not, floating my boat. I will do. So I gave up on season 2. Just didn't really work for me. We watched the latest season of Hacks, which is a half-hour comedy. Season 4 of that's just finished, so we watched that. Started a great comedy series, again a few years old. It's called Plebs, and it's just 3 idiotic guys. It's set in ancient Rome, and they're just living in ancient Rome, getting up to stupid stuff. It's each episode, like without ads, is like 22 minutes. It's just easy watch.
It's like, what's the premise? Is it like Housos but in ancient Rome?
So they're just living together, and they're just trying to get off with girls and trying to, get money from somewhere, and just live as well as they can in ancient Rome. Basically.
Have you ever seen Housos?
No.
Oh my God, Mike, you got to see this show. So
How are you spelling it?
So it's like House OS, Housos. If you go to YouTube and put in Housos, you'll find it.
All right.
So here's the premise, okay? It's actually fucking genius. And you'll see another show come up in association with this, Something Pizza, right? So this group that does this TV show, Housos. Now, the premise of Housos, it's a Australian public housing place. So basically think council housing in the UK, right? And it's this group of local miscreants, right? That are always up to some ultra petty crime, right? And so think Blackpool, okay? So Housos is Blackpool Council Housing. Done, okay? So it follows the shenanigans of these people, right? And they have all these different sort of archetype characters, and they're all genius comedians. So they do another show. I can't remember the name of the damn pizza show, but they it's all the same actors. They just like sat at a table and said, okay, role switch. And they just completely scrambled the roles, right? Mm-hmm. So the one that's the brightest of the group is now the dumbest. And the one that was the buffoon is now the one that has it together. Just, they really show how they can play absolutely different roles, right? So Housos is trying to think of a typical episode. So they go to the local, what do you call it? The local shopping center, right? Mm-hmm. And they see these 2 old ladies coming out of the thing, and legitimately they were like, okay, we're gonna help her out with her bags, right? And they there's nothing like funny about it. And so they were like, all right, let's help her carry her bags. So they're helping these old ladies carry these packages, and they're like, oh, that's so nice. And then one guy says, oh, the cops see us doing this, and they'll be off our back, And so they're carrying these packages, and the old ladies see the cops coming, and they turn around and do like a 180 away from there. And the cop comes like, boys, what are we up to today? What do you got there in your hands? And they're like, oh, we're carrying these packages for these old ladies. Oh, are you now? What old ladies? And they turn around, there's no old ladies. And, of course, the old ladies were being used by the biker gang to run drugs to get past the cops. And then these idiots, end up with the drugs, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, they end up in a chase scene with the cops halfway across town, right? But it sounds very much like the show you're describing.
Right. Yeah. Definitely worth a watch. I would recommend it.
I'll take a look. And take a look at Housos.
I will. I've made a note of it. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Is it some funny shit, dude. And there's this one dude. There's this one dude, man. If you look at Housos, you'll see this one guy who's like, you can tell he's kind of fit, And he's like sort of like the younger guy. And then there's like the uncle that like is in a mobility scooter and his tongue never stops moving. It's just great. But the guy, I can't remember his name all of a sudden. He runs everywhere. And he was like in a couple of interviews about the show, he was talking about how he just took off running on set one day and like people were laughing about it. So he just started doing that. So every episode is just him running like forever from the cops. It's just fucking brilliant, man. But yeah, it's way better than I can describe it. It's a genius show.
So we spoke briefly, I think, last month I don't think I'd watched any of it. Maybe you'd watched or were about to. Alien Earth, did you get anywhere with it?
The whole thing. Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah, so I finished it, and so Simon had mentioned it to me. He'd watched a couple of episodes and didn't really care if anyone lived or died. I thought it was better than I was expecting. Is it as good as, the classic films, the first couple of films anyway? I don't think so. But what they've done with some of the aliens, I won't spoil it because it's relatively new. But there's different kinds of aliens. So you've got the classic, big alien with the, what's it called? With the big long head.
Xenomorph.
The xenomorph. You've got that. You've got the face huggers. And you've got a whole group of other things as well just thrown in. Basically, this ship has gone through, space, collecting random life forms and studying them. And some of them are just really interesting. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's one that's like, it almost looks like an octopus, and it's kind of set up for season 2 and what they're going to do with that one. I just really wish they'd done it in like the last episode of this one or something, because that I think will be really interesting. But some of the other aliens they've come up with, I think were good. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the characters are played by kids, and these kids are, saving the world, if for want of a better phrase. But there are some grown-ups in it too. Yeah, there are some grown-ups in it too. And there's all these different kinds of synthetics, purely synthetic. And again, I won't spoil too much, but there's all these different kinds and how they interact with each other. It's just, I thought it was good, better than I expected. And I'm looking forward to season 2 to see what they do with this little octopus thing. How about
the
you?
Eyeball creature.
Yeah.
So, I really like this series for a lot of reasons. The last time that a sci-fi series was on that I was invested in enough to give a damn when the new episodes aired, to watch it, and to get to the end of, say, the first season without just wanting to destroy the TV. I absolutely love this show. The last time I saw a series like this was Falling Skies in 2012 or so. Yeah, it's been a decade since there was a show I gave a shit about. All right, so here's my take on it. I mean, look, the thing, it's already hit the season finale. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to tell you what happened at the end of the season, but it's been weeks. You've had a chance to see it. Put your fingers in your ears if it's too hurtful to hear something that's been out for a month and a half. But so it takes place in the aliens world, and what I really love about it is it has the same thing I liked about Falling Skies, in that they're not in a hurry to. They're just not in a hurry, right? But they're not unnecessarily dragging things out. Like, one of the shows I hoped would be good was Apple TV's Invasion. And what it came down to is they had a great still shot at the beginning and start of the season. And that if you watch the first and last episode of any season, you would miss nothing by not watching every episode in the middle. So, didn't live up to the promise, kind of sucked ass, right? And they were not in a hurry, but they never delivered on anything. The reason I liked Falling Skies is they took the time, that nothing was wasted, but they weren't in a hurry. They developed the characters. They developed the premise. They didn't waste times on, plucky F-18 pilots fending off alien spaceships. They just said, okay, the aliens showed up and knocked the shit out of Earth, and here's what's left, right? And they actually got to the end of the first episode before they gave you a glimpse of the actual aliens. I'm talking about Falling Skies. That they actually gave you a glimpse of the real aliens, not the bioengineered weapon systems, but the actual aliens. And it was such a in no way did you it was done right though. You didn't sit there and go, "You sons of bitches, I sat here for 8 freaking weeks and you gave me 2 seconds of that alien." You got done with that and you were like, "Holy shit, They took 8 weeks to lay out the whole premise. This is what was up. They had done so much meat on the bone, but by the time they zoomed out and showed you, what was going on, you're like, oh shit, next season, man, I'm in, And that's how Alien Earth has been for me. It has been just this wonderful, hey, we're not going to rush this, man. We're going to talk about, because one of the main features in it is they find a way to basically capture all of the electrical activity in the brain that makes up the human mind and transfer it to a mechanical device, a computer. So they have captured the human mind, a software. They're running it on hardware, and then they put that into a robotic body. So they're called, the synthetics. So basically, it's a human mind inside of a machine. And it was, and in this show, it was the first time they had done that. So it's a new edge of science, and they don't mess around. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, we don't really know for sure if it's just an AI that thinks it's human or if it is a true representation of the human brain, because we don't really know how to measure that performance. And they do a beautiful job with it, right? The sort of menagerie of aliens that, this research vessel owned by a competing corporation, which, in Aliens, they always talked about the corporations, right? But they never dove much into government or the architecture of the corporations. I mean, some of the books maybe did a deep dive, but were they canon, were they not, And what I truly love about Alien Earth is they took the time to go, look, corporations basically seize control of chunks of the earth, chunks of space, territories, militaries, and there really aren't governments anymore. It's the corporations, And you work for them, they own you, whatever, And it's just, they actually took time to flesh out that whole world of what it's like to live in that future of, humankind, right? So I thought that was beautifully done. And then they bring back, so one corporation has this research vessel coming back of all these different life forms they captured. The other corporation hijacks it. And this is the whole premise of the show. The vessel crashes on Earth into the building of, the competing corporation that basically guided it right down into their, midst so they could get a hold of it. And they do, and they have now all these alien life forms, one of which is the eyeball octopus creature, which is just the stuff they do with that is brilliant. Like where the guy writes pi on his palm and holds it up to the cage and is like, this is a representation of pi. Is this, and this. The first 3 numbers are this. What are the next 3? And the alien taps them out. And I mean, dude, they did some great stuff. So how do you screw something like this up, right? Oh, let's see. I don't know. Unwelcome, unwarranted, and unnecessarily inserting of any and all woke narratives, right? So around every corner, is it a xenomorph or is it a blue-haired protester? I don't know. I was just waiting, dude, because it was that way with what was it?
Last
of Us, right? It's like, oh look, it's he just that the other guy's butt. What the fuck? I didn't, I'm not here. I thought this was gonna be zombies, and I just no, stop it with this shit. So what was so beautiful is I sat down, and I can say now that I've made it to the end of the season, they just did a show about aliens. It is certified 100% woke free, and the refreshing nature of that. And when I say woke free, it by no means did it have anything that would be considered, I don't know, the opposite of woke. There was no, it was absent of current day human politics, which is the motherfucking best thing ever. Man, I watched that show and I was just in awe of how genuine and how good a show can be. It was almost like watching, not in terms of the tech or the special effects quality or filmmaking, but in terms of just doing a show about the task assigned. I haven't seen something like that since the 90s. They just made a show about aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. And like you say, there's no narratives in it other than sci-fi and aliens, and I'm cool with that.
Oh, this thing's going to kill, man. it's going to kill. And I hope they make so much money off of it that even the most committed amongst them are like, look, we went woke, we went broke. I got this new car, I got this new house. I really want to make the payment on that house. Let's do another show without any dumb shit.
Yeah.
I fucking hope it works. Just blown away by it. So yeah, I totally am a fan of Aliens Earth, and maybe there may there be many more shows that follow it along the same lines of just a show about whatever the show is about.
Yep. On to movies. So I've watched quite a few movies this over the last few weeks. Final Destination Bloodlines. I do like the Final Destination series. This one, I mean, it's, you know what you're getting when you sit down to watch it. You're getting, stupid deaths, blood, gore, that kind of thing. It was predictable. It's just a fun watch if you like that series of films. The Fear Street trilogy is now a quadrilogy. They just brought one out called Prom Night. Don't waste your time. Of the 4 films now, the second one I think is the best one, where it's set in like a summer camp, like the first Friday the 13th films. That's the best one. They go downhill pretty quickly after that. This one, don't waste your time, just dumb. I had a listener, now this is going back a few years, recommend a film to me, and I can't remember if it was on the old forums, if it was through email, if it was someone I'd met in person. I apologise for forgetting who you were, but whoever you are, you recommended a film called Heathers. And for years...
Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah? Have you seen it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're talking about, because I think they did a remake, because they always do.
Okay.
This would have been Winona Ryder and a bunch of other ones in like the 90s.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I finally watched it. Just a stupid, dumb movie. Better than the reviews say of it, but interesting film. It's been so long ago that it was recommended by a listener. I've forgotten why they said watch it, and I've gone through emails and looked for it. Can't find them, so maybe it was on the old forums, but I have watched it. So if you're out there, get in touch and we'll discuss it. Just this afternoon, I watched Predator: Killer of Killers, which is the animated one. They did, I think, earlier this year. So it's just, the premise is the predators go out around the universe looking for, violent and warrior-type races that they can fight against and prove themselves to be the best, in the universe kind of thing. The basic Predator premise. And so they pick on like a few different people, and there's a pilot from 1942. There's an old, samurai guy and stuff like that. It's just dumb. I wouldn't really waste your time, but the comments on it were great. Yes, this should be the future of Predator. Predator versus Shaolins. Predator versus the Nazis. Just all this dumb shit they were rhyming off. But yeah. I watched another film, I think it's 2009, Pandorum, set in space. It's like a space horror, I suppose. It's too fast to keep up with. It's like the first Descent film. Once that gets into like the third quarter of that film, everything just happens so quick, and it just jumps from one shot to another, and you can barely see what's going on. Like, they build up a bit of the tension, and then the action scenes are like, what the fuck just happened? It's like lots of jump scares and just really quick, stupid, violent scenes, and you can't really take in what happens. It's just that quick. The premise of it was quite interesting. I don't know if you know it, but it's a ship that's going, life on Earth has just got, the population is so big, Earth can't support the population because of resources, food, water, etc. So this ship goes off with a population, 5 different shifts of people who will sleep for 2 years, Well, one is awake, and then when they go to sleep for however many years, they wake up the next crew, kind of thing. Anyway, this crew wakes up, and there's nobody else there, and it's about that basically. But the twist at the end, I won't spoil it if you're going to watch it. But there is a twist at the end that was all right. I watched. This
now,
guy,
Mike, did you watch Silo? Did we talk about that? I can't remember.
yes, a good while ago. I think when it was current, I watched that.
Yeah, okay.
That's due back as well, isn't it?
Should be sometime. I was thinking maybe early next year, but
Yeah. So there's a guy on YouTube. I forget the name of his channel now, but he's called Sean Clark. I think you'll probably find him if you search for that. And he does a YouTube channel of going around locations where horror films have been filmed and going around, real world locations where they set things, etc. So I can't remember, that popped up on my YouTube, through the algo or whatever. And I'd seen him before. I had watched some of his before. But the one that popped up was about the American Werewolf in London, which is probably my favourite film. And he goes around all these locations. And then that led me down a rabbit hole of, because he brings another guy into the video who made a documentary, 2001, I think it was, called Beware the Moon, which is, again, similar thing, but Beware the Moon. So this Sean Clark on YouTube just goes to the locations and they show, what it's really like, etc. But the Beware the Moon documentary interviews the people in the film, the main actors and actresses, John Landis. So if you can track down Beware the Moon, I think it's on YouTube. Real low quality, like 240p or something like that on YouTube. But definitely worth a watch if you're a fan of the genre, and certainly if you're a fan of the film. And then check out Sean Clark's YouTube channel as well.
Funny thing, Michael, I tend to not be a fan of horror movies
Mm-hmm.
just because they have, I don't know, it's the execution that just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know why. It's either it's not believable or it's just frivolous gore without supporting story,
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with most horror. Now, there have been other ones I thought that were good, like when they did that latest iteration of It, I thought was not bad. House of a Thousand Corpses, I thought was pretty damn good. So there certainly have been ones that I like, but mostly, no, I just don't. Like the whole, the one you're talking about, the Final Destination series.
Mm-hmm.
The first movie I kind of liked.
Yeah.
The second one was like, oh, I've seen this before. And the third one, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I just can't get past that. So the thing is, although I'm not a big fan of horror films, the actual outcome, I tend to kind of like horror people and horror filmmakers. Like anytime I see an interview with some of the actors, like two of the best interviews I've ever seen recently, if you're a fan of horror. One was with Bonnie something or other. She's the girl that plays the nun.
Right, yeah.
You've seen that movie, The Nun, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, like, I watched The Nun. I just considered it kind of okay a little, But the interviews with her and sort of the making of I saw, it was so funny because, like, here's these two actresses. And, these are just dopey L.A. broads, right? Mm. They just went to freaking Starbucks. They pull up on set and, they get in a car and they're giggling about, their Pilates class later in the day and spin aerobics or whatever. And, they get into the makeup and then they go in to do the scene. And the one girl's like, "Oh, Bonnie, I can't even look at you. I'm sorry." Just runs out of the room. And they're all laughing in tears, And you see, like, how much fun it is amongst people that love working together, that love being actors, that love being filmmakers. And, horror is never a moneymaker. So, I mean, obviously some actors would rather be making a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But they've kind of fallen in a place where, like, they have a niche, and they're making, even though the end result just doesn't generally turn out to be something I like, I really admire them as filmmakers and creators, So the other interview was with, I cannot remember the guy's name, but you've seen, like, The Hills Have Eyes, right?
Yeah.
The guy with the sort of cone-shaped head?
Oh, yeah.
Has
yeah.
the bug eyes and the, like he's on the cover of the fucking movie, right?
Yeah.
Holy crap. One of the absolute best interviews I watched, and he was telling a story about how, his dad was a medical officer in World War II, right? And after we had Japan simmer down, he went over to evaluate the aftermath of the bombing, right? So he was like combing through the ruins of, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and medically like making note of like, hey, what happened and what was the aftermath and all, to understand atomic weapons. And a lot of what he did, the research he did, is I think a lot of the reason why those have not been used again. It's kind of like, all right, look, they got the fucking point. And I think anybody that comes along after the fact is going to get the fucking point too. And the point has already been made enough that I think we don't need to go there, and thus far that has kept, the reuse of nuclear weapons at bay, which I think is, a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the actor, again, I just can't remember his name. His dad was a researcher, that, like I said, went over and combed through these ruins, and it's presumed through his exposure, he, it resulted in his son's birth defects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the guy was born with all these different birth defects, but he was born to a brilliant family. His dad, after World War II, ended up going into neuroscience, and he's still to this day. I mean, although, his research is obviously like, 50 years out of date by now, or not out of date, but, research has moved on 50 years. So he, his dad is still very, he's known as one of the pillars of that science, right? So anyway, and just brain research in general. So he comes from this brilliant family, and he was obviously raised in a household that had a lot of academics, and the guy is absolutely brilliant. And he's talking about making horror films, and he has absolutely no like. So can I look like this? I got to play this character, and he just goes all in. Like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this, and we did this, and like he talks about his collaboration with people like Wes Craven, right? And you look at like Wes Craven, who's a really bright guy, and you would never guess from something like The Hills Have Eyes. You think of like, okay, low budget, a bunch of guys with film canisters out in the desert, trying to bash together a film. And no, it's these really intellectual, really capable people that are working together to make this film. I just watched and I'm like, yeah, it's not my thing. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a lot of the like really black metal, death metal stuff. I see like an interview with like, I don't know, like George Fisher of Cannibal Corpse, or what was I was watching the other day? One of those bands. It's this Norwegian band that their lead singer is like, I think he's from like one of the Slavic countries. But anyway, I cannot remember or pronounce the name of that band. But he actually he has a YouTube channel called Sea Kindles, and he does like these like I found him through a lot of the metal stuff, but he is like super Mr. Family Man. Like he and his daughter and his wife, they go out and like, he makes these videos with his daughter where his daughter's like doing his makeup for, the concert or whatever. And, his is perfect. And he goes out looking like a unicorn, I mean, it's just really funny, wholesome stuff. I mean, like, you just got nothing but respect for this guy. And, but, and he's funny. Like he's got a 6-year-old and they're doing like these really legit funny videos that, I find funny. It's neat because that's another genre. I really like the metal. I'm a huge fan of metal, but the metal I don't like. I'm a big fan of the people doing it. I just don't like. Okay, all right, okay, you start singing, just stop. I won't get up to the point you start performing.
Yeah. Couple of movies left. Weapons is a new one that's due out. I turned it off. Didn't like it. So there's. I don't like all horror movies, and there's some aspects and particular genres of horror that I don't like, and Weapons had it, so I turned that off, didn't like it.
What was dumb about it? Because I actually have it sitting on a NAS and I haven't watched it.
It's basically witchcraft. I'm not into stuff with witchcraft, so I turned it off. Thursday
Bad
Murder Club
experience?
is on. Pardon?
Is that bad past experience? Or?
Funnily enough, I do know someone who professes to be a witch, a white witch. But no, not personal experience. Just doesn't interest me. Like vampire movies, I watch a couple. I like a few. Don't generally like a vampire genre. You know, werewolves,
Same.
zombies. Yeah, you know, you can get away with that.
Have you seen Nicolas Cage's Dracula from like 2 or 3 years ago?
No, you did mention that a couple of shows ago. A, I don't like Nicolas Cage.
Dude,
B, I'm not mad on
Mention it
vampires.
until you watch them. Look, I don't like Nicolas Cage. In general, I don't like Nicolas Cage movies, and I have to say, this Dracula movie is maybe the best one ever, and Nicolas Cage is fucking genius in it.
I'll make a note of that along with Houseos. I may watch it. And as you come in here next week, I might make you sit through it as well. If I'm suffering, you're suffering as well, motherfucker.
Oh, dude, I will totally sit there and watch Dracula with you.
All right. Last couple of movies. Thursday Murder Club, based on a series of books by a TV guy over here, Richard Osman. I've read all the books. I really like the books. If you've not read the books, the movie's probably a bit wallpaper for you. But if you know the characters and you know the stories, I think you'll really enjoy it. I think it was well done. Got some big names in it. Ben Kingsley, Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Celia Imrie. You probably know most of those names. But I thought the film was really well done. And I think they'll continue to adapt the rest of the books as well. I hope they do. I do like the books on that film. Finally, Downton Abbey. I do like the show. I get that not everyone listening to this will. But we went to watch that. So there's a theatre near us. I think I've mentioned it before. Called The Everyman. And it's like you go in and there's couches in there. There's reclining chairs in there. There's waitress service while you're in there. So you can order, burgers, hot dogs, whatever, nachos. You have a little table at the side of you. You can order drinks, etc. So we watched it there. I do like those films. I think that's the last one. I think it's called the finale, actually. So watch that as well. Did enjoy that. It was all right. Bring it back to video games then. Nearly an hour in. Let's get on to video games. So I went back to... I've been playing on and off for a little while. Castlevania, the original on the NES. Listeners of this show will know I wasn't a fan. And then I sort of gave it another shot after we'd discussed it in a few top tens. And I played through quite a bit of it, the original I'm talking about on the NES. But then I just thought, it's just more of the same, and I went away from it. Went back to it a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe. Played through a little bit more, and I just thought, yeah, it's just hit something with the whip, collect the bonus. Hit something else with the whip, collect the bonus. Just really, really repetitive. So moved away from that, but tried a few of the other ones, other Castlevanias on different platforms. The one I'm going to go back to is the PC Engine one, Dracula X. That looks pretty good. Whether that gets a bit, samey, I don't know. I've also got Symphony of the Night to go through as well. I played bits of that, so I will go through those two. But I just got to a point where the original was just more of the same and left it. But I've gone back to another old game on the SNES, Super Metroid. I played it in the past, never completed it. It's one of those, you change system, lose your save, lose your cartridge or whatever, and start again. And it's one I've never completed, but I'm going to go through it and complete it this time. Really, really enjoying that. It's just fantastic. It really is. The power-ups, the new abilities you pick up, the bits you can't get to and you've got to go back to later. It's just classic, platformer, power-up bonus type stuff, but just really, really well done. So I'm really enjoying Super Metroid. And final game stuff then. We've got an expo coming up. Play Blackpool is next weekend. So Scott is coming over here. Sort of midweek. I've started a channel on our Discord. So if you're in Blackpool and you want to know where we are, because some people will try and message me on Facebook or whatever. I'm not.
And then a week later, no, I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, I was there, not there anymore. So messaging me on Facebook is a complete waste of time. I won't see it until a month later, when I generally go on once a month to see who's messaged me and who refuses to use email or any other method of communication. So I've started a channel on our Discord. If you're not on our Discord, get on our Discord. We will post there,
How to get
where
on
we
our
are.
Discord.
Pardon?
Tell them how to get on our Discord.
You can find a link to our Discord via our website. Where is it? Let me tell you exactly where the link is. Go to our website, retrogamingroundup.com. Click on the social networks tab, and you will see a link to Discord right there. So there is a channel called Blackpool 2025. If you want to ask us something, where we are, what we're doing, what our plans are, what we just did, do it in that channel, and we can all chat in the same place. So our loose plan at the moment, Arcade Club on the Friday night. Come and say hello. We'll be there for drinks and we'll be there for food. We'll be there for the duration. So come and find us there on Friday night. We have a booth at the expo in the vendor hall all weekend. So if you're in the show, come and find us. Come and say hello. There have been quite a few guests announced, guest speakers who'll be doing panels. We'll be hoping to interview some of them in the booth as well. Go through some of the names. RJ Michael, famous for working on the Amiga hardware from the Amiga 1000 onwards. Also co-designer of the Atari Lynx. Jeff Minter and Giles will be there. I'll come back to Jeff Minter in a minute. John Romero will be there. He's got his own booth. He'll be selling his books, signing his books. He's also doing a talk and a competition, a deathmatch competition on stage on the Saturday. Charles Cecil and Tony Warrener from Arctic Computing and Revolution Software. They did lots of point and clicks like Lure of the Temptress, the Broken Sword series, etc. Simon Phipps, who did Rick Dangerous and is also big into art and movie props as well. Matt Householder, who did California Games, Winter Games. He was also at 3DO, believe it or not. And he also worked on Diablo 2. The Vectrex Mini will be there. We talked about, is it real? Is it not? What's the screen like? They are going to have Vectrex Minis there. We'll be able to see and report back. So Jeff Minter. We've interviewed Jeff Minter before. I don't keep up with Jeff Minter games. They're not always my kind of thing. I like his early stuff, not so much some of the later trippy stuff. So I asked Random Dave, Random, send me some questions to ask Jeff Minter, and I will put that out to the listeners. Email me, contact me via post, whatever. What question do you want me to ask Jeff Minter on your behalf? Unless it's offensive, I will ask it. It could be sexual, it might not be. What do you want me to ask Jeff Minter? Send your questions to me. Anything to add to Play Blackpool, Scott? And I am just about done there, so over to you and anything you've got to say about Blackpool.
Well, I can't wait, man. If you're in the U.S., it's probably a tad late to plan on getting over to Blackpool. No matter how much notice you've had, it's probably a tad late. If you're in the UK and you're listening to this and you look up and realize, oh, that's in like 2 days, well, go. I mean, you can still, I'm sure you can still get tickets. I mean, you know, and wherever you are, I don't care if you're in freaking, you know, the bottom of London or over in the Cotswolds. It ain't that far of a drive from where I drive an hour just to go to work, okay? You know, put your big boy pants on and get in the car. But Blackpool is just a hell of an expo. Fantastic time. Looking forward to the shenanigans and everybody there, and who knows what we'll be up to this time. So, yeah, it's a massive expo. I mean, the expo halls for the UK is about as big as you're going to get, unless you're talking about the ones at the Trafford. And those are so commercialized now. It's a different animal. But no, wonderful expo and great time to be had by all. So.
Just before you go on to your stuff, I'm really looking forward to this one. So, be good to catch up with you. We've got loads of shit to discuss and go and look at while you're here. So, just the whole thing, not just the expo. The whole catching up with people and just shenanigans. Shenanigans will be afoot. So,
I tell you, one of the best times of the whole thing is Friday night. Sitting over in the club there with usually we have. Simon there and yourself and myself, and I know Gareth has made it in the past, and it's just always a raucous time. So
yeah,
love it. So I will. I've done some shopping for UK Mike, getting some goodies for him. So I will. I will be there middle of next week or this week, whatever. It all runs together. So. What are the dates for the Blackpool again, in case anybody in the UK is listening?
It's Saturday and Sunday, and that will be the 4th and 5th of October.
Nice. So, you already brought up Aliens Earth. That was kind of everything I was interested in. About the only things I've been hammering away on some robot projects, getting some of that good progress has been made. Went through and I did a lot of revamping in my basement. There was I had this bar down there and I really needed it gone. It's a massive thing. I mean, just solid wood, like each part takes like 5 people to lift. It's just absurd. So that had to go, and just some other stuff that was in the way. And looking ahead to Christmas, I rearranged part of the corner there because I always, do a big Christmas train, and each year I add additional pieces to it. Michael, I don't think I showed these pieces I built off. I'll go grab them while we're reading the news and then hold them up to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But each year I do a couple of additional scenery items, right? So like one year I added a water tower and a luggage station. The next year I added a theater. What's that?
Whole house.
Well, yeah. I added a theater and a station that had like Christmas lights around it. So just every year I try and add in more and more and more, so it kind of grows each year, And who knows where it'll end up. I'm not a big train guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like trains. And I like model trains. But it's not like, there's the train people where it's like, but you have a Norfolk Southern car mixed in with a Pacific Northwest car pulled by A29-3 engine. The A29-3 engine didn't have the coupling to connect to the Pacific Northwest car. It would never be seen. I'm like, yeah, I don't fucking care. I mean, I just don't. It's a train. Just be cool. So I'm going to do this big train layout. And I got to look and I thought, when the train layout isn't in that area, I could do a hell of a slot car layout. And I actually have a decent quantity of slot cars, right? And so there's all these different scales. Like the ones I had in the 80s, which, Michael, I'm curious if you ever had any of these. They were largely HO scale. So in fact, I've got one right here. So the HO scale slots, this particular one is actually a really neat one.
We are looking at Azov right now, don't forget.
Yeah, the Azov cam is on. I'll turn it around in a second. So most of the slot cars have a literal slot where this tab rolls in the groove in the track and guides the car, right? So, and it picks up power from the track. There was a really neat series where the cars had their own onboard battery, and they were called Sizzlers, right? And they were made to utilize all of the Hot Wheels track. So basically, they had a motor and a battery, and they have a little charge port. So you plug up the battery, you plug up this charge station, which is just a bunch of batteries, and it charges the NiCad battery. when an iCat battery is charged, you unplug the thing, put it on the track, and then they take off running, right? And they run for like a minute or two, just depends on the battery's health. And they race under their own power. So, but they're HO scale. So this is HO scale.
Mm-hmm.
Be useful, Cat.
Like a Matchbox
awesome.
car. We have Matchbox cars over here.
Yes, it is exactly.
Yeah.
HO scale slot cars are nearly exactly Matchbox car size. I'm sure the faithful will be like, oh no, one is 164th and one is 163rd.
Ew.
What's the
Stick to
difference?
retro games.
Ew. Don't comment to things you don't know about. Slot Form's very angry. We started a new thread. But so the 132nd though these were more of a thing in the 60s, I guess, that it's carried on through today. Both Scale Electric in the UK and Carrera in Germany and a number of American manufacturers. Although, as I mentioned in the hardware flashback, none of these, if you're sitting there going, Scale Electric versus Carrera, UK versus the Germans, it's your Chinese versus our Chinese. That's the only difference. It's not a UK product anymore. It's not a German product anymore. It's just Chinese. So anyway, the 132nd are quite a bit bigger. So they're the size of a little bit bigger than a pack of cigarettes.
A dinky toy, if you remember those from the 80s, 70s and 80s.
Yeah. So, and what's neat is there's actually a number of cars out there that a lot of them are pullback, just real cheap toys that have really neat bodies. And so over the years, I bought just a lot of these. Didn't really pay attention to how many I had because they're really good. Like if you like race cars and all, these are really good, very high detailed models, beautiful paint jobs. And then like I took some 132nd bodies and put them onto other slot car chassis. Really neat stuff. Just absolutely neat stuff. But so I started putting together a slot car layout so I can actually use these cars. Now, obviously, slot cars is not as much a solo activity because you generally, have two tracks of which there are two controllers for two humans, right? So, I mean, how often are you really going to have anybody over to your house? What are you going to do, just sit there and run one car around the track, right? So what's really neat is the digital ones, they have all sorts of modes like ghost cars and pace cars and all sorts of stuff so that you can literally have a car on the track run. Now, it doesn't have like AI. It doesn't know necessarily where you are, what you do. It's not like that.
No AI? What?
You can get 3 or 4 cars running around that track kind of at random. And it gives you something to mix up against and practice, like getting ahead of other cars to do a lane change. So it's actually a lot of utility in it. But yeah, so I have all these damn cars that I've never used. I figured, okay, I'm gonna do a decent track. So in the middle of doing a track layout for that, and since all these things were inside of plastic tubs, I have like 160 of these slot cars, and they're all in plastic tubs. So I figured, all right, let me grab a few for the collection I didn't have, and I started printing these racks, right? And they are you can stack these as high as you want, and they are sized perfectly for the 132nd slot cars, right? And they have different, like you can see the little studs there and all to let you put the supports in different places for different versions of cars. So you can put Indy cars on there. You can put sedans, saloons. I got like a Caterham, Lotus Super 7, Ferrari 35, and F1 on the same rack. So neat stuff. I've printed a lot of these in very short. Fortunately, it's a short print, although it's a pretty stout unit. And that's the kind of dumb stuff I can print for a nickel, and they'll sell something for like that for $35 for 2 of them. So good work if you can get it. But anyway, on to the news. That's all I wanted to talk about there. I'll talk about it more in the hardware flashback.
Yeah, not so much live news as just live today. But that's fine. I seem to be in the... Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes, on to some news. So if you want to send us news items, send them to news@retrogamingroundup.com. If you think, oh, this is obvious, someone's already sent this one, send it anyway, because we don't mind duplicates. We'd rather get it twice than miss out. This one from our very own Dave Lanke, who can't be with us today. He's in the process of moving house and sorting shenanigans out. If you're in our Discord channel, you will see him doing a blow-by-blow account of setting up his new studio. So jump on our Discord. It's worth it. It's like, I was thinking about this the other day, like, 'cause I was thinking about our old forums and all the information that was there, but it just became too much of a problem to keep them running, keep them, ad-free, keep them spam-free, keep them supported by current hosting solutions and things. So, unfortunately, we had to, park those. But Discord is getting more and more people on it every day. So, jump on there if you're not there already. Anyway, Random sent this in. Outrun's unofficial Game Boy Color port is available now for free. So, if you're a fan of Outrun and you want to play it on your Game Boy Color, you can get it for free via this link on timeextension.com. All the stories we talk about during the news will be on our show notes pages. So jump on our website and find them.
Got one here. The random one sent it in. 20 photos that capture the fun of old school arcades. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of... Mike, you should check out this link.
I did do, actually.
Check out number 12, Playing Pinball.
Number 12. Oh, come on. Add. Yeah, so some of these pictures I've seen before. Some I haven't.
18 hanging out in the arcade.
Hanging out in the arcade, yeah.
And then some of the super arcades. Like, all right, check out number 19. And,
yeah. 20, George Lucas playing Star Wars.
Yeah. Number 8. Check out number 8.
Number 8? Whoever said that? Stick it up your ass. Getting ready to hand out quarters at timeout. How prevalent was timeout over there?
So as far as I know, it was the one that was over in the Sterling or the Springfield Mall. But if you notice, those signs are the same ones I have in my house.
Yeah.
And the paint colors and all that, that's where I got that from. But freaking fantastic place.
Those change belts. Yeah, some good shots there.
Well, if you look at Arcade and the Video Victims, even did that one song, Change Attendant.
They did.
Fucking great, man.
You will have heard it on the show at some point.
Whatever happened to those guys? Maybe they'll have a reunion show.
I think one of them passed away. That was...
That's Buckner and Garcia.
Yeah. I think Garcia passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
Or Buckner. But
One of the two.
I think it was Garcia, unfortunately. One here from Dave Lanke. He came in hard this month early on, trying to stop the Gareth Hamer train. How an Italian studio is bringing 90s UK point-and-click Simon the Sorcerer to a new generation. I want to get into some point-and-click talk if we can manage to sit down with Charles Cecil and Tony Warriner at Play. They did, as I said earlier, all the Broken Sword stuff and Lure the Temptress, quite a few others as well, and developed game engines to sort of rival the LucasArts stuff that was around at the time. So, as you know, I love me some point-and-click.
So, Mike Walsall, that's, 2 hours from you?
Walsall, about 90 minutes.
Well, because Dave Lanke here just posted a link to, we think we found the UK's best arcade. I don't know if it's the best, but it's a good-looking one, Mike. We should maybe pass by there.
Is it, Walsall, is this Retro Realm? That's the one. Yes, it is. This is the one with all Craig Turner's machines in. This is the one
Oh,
that
really?
Craig's involved with. Yeah. So
Okay.
I planned a road trip down there. I think it was it the end of last year, something like that, and wasn't able to go. But kind of the gang of us who did the road trip to RMC the Cave, we're planning our next one, and this may well be the place we go to. So it's convenient, lots of arcade machines, consoles as well. They do food, they do beer, what's not to like, and there's a Premier Inn, I believe, across the road, or very close. So we are in the early stages of planning a road trip down there. So yes, that's the one Craig's involved with.
So got another one here from David Gyrich, and it says console's expensive, and he looks at the modern console versus historic console, price trends and all that. So like the Switch came out at $394, made it down to $340. They think it'll land at $116, and then they go through like the OLED version and all that. They talk about like the Atari debuting at $1,100, ending up at $100. Well, that was a different animal. Neo Geo debuting at $1,500, ending up at $600. NES debuting at $600, ending up at $100. Yeah, but those were different times, different reasons. Like the price of RAM literally did go from $200 a chip to $20 a chip in 5 years because factories existed then to make RAM. So, yeah, but the effect is real nonetheless. He's not wrong there. And then another one from Dave Lanky, since I already had it pulled up. Atari just turned your childhood joystick into a $125 whiskey decanter for distinguished gamers. So somebody made a CX-10 joystick decanter with 2 Atari glasses.
I seem to remember that doing the rounds before. I'm sure we discussed it. I mean,
Could be.
I like it. I think it looks good. Would I pay a lot for it? Has it got a price there?
$125.
No, I don't think I would.
I don't think I would either.
I'll just keep it in the bottle, thanks. But I mean, it
Drop
does.
it in the can? No, I'll have it right here.
It does look nice. One here for Spinal is back in chat. He had to step out for a little. The last he heard, Scott was talking about aliens and politics. Can you repeat from there, please? Welcome back. Charlie sent us one. He said it sounds like bullshit. I would agree. It sounds like bullshit. Dolby unveils a new Dolby Vision 2, a new era for TV picture quality. It unlocks even more potential from your TV through new, powerful, and intelligent technology to deliver next-level viewing experiences. If it's on your existing TV, I fail to see how revolutionary it can be. So, I think I would agree with Charlie. Sounds like bullshit.
Could be. But I tell you what's not bullshit is this fellow here that Gareth Hamer sent in came up with a really neat idea. So he took a Commodore 64 data set and had a microcassette mechanism and figured, let's build a miniature version of the Commodore data set. And he did. And it looks really cool, man. This is a neat thing. So he bought this thing called an Olympus Pearl 1400, and it was, in 1993, the most compact, known dictaphone. Can
I use your dictaphone? No, use your finger like everyone else.
Oh, those guys. Yeah, so anyway, it's just, it's pretty cool. He built a miniature version of the Commodore data set. And it said it wasn't his original intention. He just set off to do something else and then figured, I'll do this. So, fair enough. Very nice.
One here from Mike James. Who the hell is that? Amazon Tomb Raider series chooses Sophie Turner. So this is the upcoming live-action Tomb Raider series. There is an animated one that I believe is going to come back for a second and final season.
Is that Sansa Stark?
Sansa, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they have chosen her as the lead actress to play Lara Croft. I would watch a live action one. I did try the animated one, and I'm not saying it's a bad show. I just think I've outgrown animated shows like that. You know, like the Castlevania one, they did an animated one, and I don't know. I struggled with it. I think unless it's a classic cartoon, which, I mean, I always love classic cartoons. They never grow old. I think a new animated series really is a step too far for me right now. I did watch the animated Predator movie this afternoon, as I said at the top, but I was doing other stuff. I was prepping some stuff for Blackpool. You know, I was in the room while it was on kind of thing, and I wasn't sat there staring at the screen. But, yeah, it was just a tough watch for me, the animated one. I would give the live-action one a go, especially with Sophie Turner in the title role.
I think I'll take a look at that, too.
Mm.
Okay, got one here from Gareth Hamer. Now I gotta call bullshit on this one because they didn't explain it well what they were doing. It says no Amiga demo. It says an Amiga demo with no CPU involved. I thought, okay, so I know like Angus and all the other chips are very much coprocessors and could run things on their own, but you'd never be able to get things into memory. You'd never be able to, how the hell are you going to say you're going to do a demo with no CPU, right? So I started reading it. What they did is they wrote a demo, and the CPU, of course, operates the drive, loads it, puts the stuff in memory, and then the chips access memory, and they execute the demo with the CPU more or less as a bystander. But you're not doing it without the CPU. So maybe a better way to phrase this would be, Amiga demo not utilizing CPU for, demo calculations, And here they say, it's used just to load and create the memory maps. Well, that certainly is using the CPU. But, I think it is good to highlight just how powerful that thing is.
So one here, sent in by a couple of people. Gareth Hamer sent it. Dave Lanky sent it. And we've talked on this show about, the proliferation in recent years of retro arcades, barcades, that kind of thing. Arcade Club has gone from strength to strength with 3 current locations. There are others. We've just discussed the Retro Realm in Walsall, doing really well. This one is going to shut down. This one is a retro arcade in Salisbury, and it says to shut down at the end of the month. By the time you hear this, it will probably be already closed. It's in the Cross Keys Shopping Centre in Salisbury. Now, if you're not in the UK, Salisbury is quite a historic town. It's a very nice town. I've visited. But you go to Salisbury for older history than arcade games. They've got a great cathedral. They've even got nice cloisters. It's a historic town on the Salisbury Plains, near Stonehenge, that kind of thing. That's the kind of stuff you're going to look at in Salisbury. So maybe it's just a shame they didn't get the foot traffic. I don't know. Maybe with it being...
I thought it would have been there for the first Salisbury Steak Festival.
Maybe if it's, in a shopping centre, the rent is too much. I don't know. But unfortunately, this one is going to close. So, you do need all the pieces to fall in place for, any business to succeed. And unfortunately, looks like this one didn't.
So got one here that actually prompts a question that I'm curious on your opinion, Mike, as well as I'll give my own. But this one here is from Gareth Hamer, and it says you can add a CRT shader on any game. And, well, kind of any game. And it's a overlay for running GPU shaders on Windows desktop. So I guess you can have a VHS, TV, softening, denoising, blur, and I guess scan lines. And then I guess you put that overlay and then whatever you run under it looks that way. I'm kind of mixed, Mike. So I'm generally not a fan of of computer-based CRT simulators, right?
Mm-hmm.
A LCD is an LCD.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I generally don't like the way that retro games look on LCDs. If I've used this example 100 times. You look at, say, Pac-Man, the Ghost Monsters, the Pac-Man, and you look at the way that persistence of vision, the way that the pixels around the outer edge fade and come into brightness, and it rounds out the shape and creates a perception of movement. And when you play, like, say, Pac-Man on an LCD monitor using MAME, you basically have this image just sliding around the maze. It doesn't look organic. The games don't look good on LCDs for the most part. Now, adding things like CRT lines and this whole shader thing, to me, all those are gimmicks that just exacerbate the problem and make it look worse. So I'd say either just accept you're playing it on an LCD or just hook up a damn CRT. And there's lots of ways to do that. But I don't know, Mike. I'm just not a fan of simulating CRTs. How about yourself?
No, the only time I've ever done it, the Retron 5 has it built in, so you can add scan lines and that kind of thing. I've never gone out of my way to try and do it on PC. And I'd tried it on the Retron 5, didn't like it, turned it off. I like the way that it looks good on the video that they're showing you, where it kind of warps the image. It's not just sort of making it blurry or something. It kind of warps it and bends almost the kind of like the title bar and stuff. So it looked clever, but yeah, it's not going to replace a CRT, certainly not. But yeah, I'm not a fan, to be honest. Not a fan.
All right, so got one other here. Gareth Hamer, DOS emulation. It's a link to an article on How to Geek, and it explains sort of the current DOS emulation scene, a lot of stuff about DOSBox, and then, of course, some of the newer alternatives that people have made up, like, the Vortex 86, single board computers that have, basically it's a shrunk down miniaturized motherboard, and sort of a discussion of not a deep, complex article, but if you're considering dipping your toe into DOS, not terrible. I say just get a DOS machine and run it.
Yeah, one here from Gareth Hamer. I thought somebody else sent this in as well. Maybe I was wrong. For the first time in 4 years, there's a new Super Mario Bros. Speedrun world record holder. We are now only 15 frames away from a perfect speedrun. So when you get to this level, it's just absolutely mental. I did watch all of this playthrough, and it's just crazy. It's literally learning, a routine. You're not playing a video game at this point. You're learning a routine, and it's muscle memory for the most part. Yes, it's a definite skill. It's very difficult. It would just frustrate the hell out of me. But to get down to, the number of frames away from a perfect speedrun, that's the level that these people are operating at. It's another world. It is just absolutely crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Very impressive, very crazy.
So
have you ever kissed a girl, son?
Got one here from Rando, just another one sent in by several others about the Vectrex Mini. It's supposed to debut at $115 with a white version costing $250. Yeah, looking forward to seeing one at Blackpool and checking it out. So we will see soon.
Yeah. It'll live and die by the screen. Simple as that, I think. What have we got here? Outrun on Game Boy Color. That's the same one Random sent earlier. He sent it twice.
It seems to be.
What a muppet! What an absolute muppet, Random Davis.
It's that protein-starved brain of his.
Yeah, must be.
Did I said this before? I don't know. I tried an eggplant steak, but I feel weak.
I can't even say aubergine.
You cut a slice of the eggplant and you put it on the grill and you flip it, and then you take it and you slice it and it's just like steak.
No vegetables were harmed in the making of this podcast.
We'll have to bring that boy a rack of lamb while we're there.
Yeah. Yeah. The Last of Us gets reimagined as a top-down title in this retro remake. This is on retrododo.com. I never played the original game. I've seen it played. Wasn't for me. But this, yeah, I do like some remakes. Yeah, I think they're clever. I think some of them are well done. I play some good ones. I'll play some bad ones. I will give this one a look.
Wow. Got one here, Mike. You've heard of Lawyers and Showers, right?
I have.
Dude, was that not some of the best stuff ever? Lawyers and Showers. I mean,
yeah.
So, and to think in the end it was just Sean scamming Mike the whole time.
I was thinking about it the other day. So there's a listener. He may want to remain anonymous. He may not. But he bought the book recently. You shipped it to him. And he, so I emailed him back and forth. I said, let me know when you get it. Let me know what you think, kind of thing. So we've been chatting a bit as he's going through it. And he's like, he was a listener early on. We met him at expos at Port. I don't think he was at CG, but we met him twice at Portland. And he's been on a couple of shows that we've been on and done voices for and stuff. And he listened to the podcast early on, but didn't get involved in if you want the meat and potatoes of it, he'd listen to the podcast and that was it. He didn't delve into the forums too much or anything like that. So he doesn't know, pretty much any of the SoCal, businesses and schemes and stuff, even going back to, his car talk idea and what was the one before that? Well, he knew about the auction site, but didn't know some of the shenanigans behind it. So he's like, all of this is brand new to him. He knows the people involved. He's met us all. And it's just going into it with there's no preconceived ideas at all. So it's going to be interesting as he gets further through it to catch up. But I was just thinking about all the craziness of it, as thinking what he's got in store. It's mental. It's still to this day just beggars belief. It really does.
And then it's the audacity to drive forward under all circumstances, regardless of what was going on, and to either not see it or to be that willfully blind. It does beggar belief. So, got one here from Dave Lanke, and it said Sega's crunch was so bad, and they're talking about when Sega was on top of stuff, with the Genesis and all that. Sega's crunch was so bad, offices came equipped with nap rooms and showers until 2012. It was basically expected that people would be sleeping over at the office. Yeah, when they put in showers and nap rooms, and it's like, hint, hint, you may be staying here a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, how's that salary look? Does it warrant that? Yeah, so anyway, they did. And he's got a link there. But I wonder how appreciated those people feel, because it got to the end of it and Sega went out of business. Or scale, they shut down what Sega was. Sega became a self-inflicted shadow of itself. So let's see here. Terada remembers that Sega's nap rooms were around until at least 2010, which was the last time he had slept over at the office while making Hatsumi. You hear that?
Can you hear that coming through?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. That's weird. I muted it from the feed, but... that's
deafening.
Weird. Didn't think you would hear that. Anyway, yeah. It was a link. It's a YouTube video. I was skipping through, but yeah, if you can hear it, I will stop.
Almost every new Sega office was fitted with nap rooms and showers. So, who the shit knew? Lawyers and showers, nap rooms and showers. According to 3 veteran Fantasy Star and Sakura Wars developers, 3 long-time Sega developers now recalled the Sega industry, the gaming industry has changed since the 90s and 2000s. One stark difference between now and then is just a few decades ago, Sega developers were practically living at the office. Well, maybe they should go back to that shit because Sega is falling apart.
One here from Charlie, which was what Scott could hear while I was skipping through. Outlaws Remaster. Night Dive's latest remaster is a rip-roaring Wild West cult classic. Originally launched in '97 and built with LucasArts Jedi engine, Outlaws received positive acclaim for its soundtrack and gameplay. And this is a new iteration. It's Outlaws 4. You can check that out at some point. I don't think it's got... Well, it's coming to Switch 2, so it can't be all that long. Speaking of Switch 2, let me just jump down to one. I'm sure someone sent this in while we're on the topic of Switch 2. What games did they relaunch on the Switch 2 recently? Was it the Galaxy one? Super Mario Galaxy. They're relaunching Super Mario Galaxy. I can't find the news item now to get you the pricing, but Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are being relaunched for Switch 2, as digital purchases as a download. And the pricing was something like $34 each, or for the pair, like $59. Like, these are old games, motherfucker. Who is paying that for old games? It beggars belief. It's just fucking ridiculous. But, I mean, people will do it, so the Nintendo will continue doing it. It's just... The pricing is just great. I couldn't believe it. When I saw the pricing, it was ridiculous. Maybe nobody sent it in. Maybe it was just something I read. But $34 for an old game, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Well, they're not ashamed doing it.
No.
Got two good ones back to back here. First one is from Gareth Hamer. 5 retro gadgets that just work. Old cameras. I suppose so. And you know what's crazy is one of the most obvious features, which they did for old cameras, is so expensive that it's pointless. And it seemed to me, okay, like, you got your old camera, it's film-based, you open the back, you put it in the film, okay. So what if you made, an image sensor that fit where the film went, and you could use the film canister area for, battery, space, the processing, whatever, and then you have the image sensor off to the side, so it just lays in there, and you can take unlimited digital photos, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they've done exactly that. Only instead of being like a $50 device, they're like offensively expensive. Now, I don't give a shit anyway. I can't take it, be it a cell phone or a like a Nikon D500. It doesn't matter. I can't take a good picture. But in no way would I consider, like, how does it get that expensive to build that small device? But anyway, that was their suggestion for number 5. 4 is stereo receivers. Yeah, mostly. I certainly like the vintage ones. MP3 players, CDs, and mini discs. Mini discs are a whole world I've never delved into, never felt the need to, but I do admire them as a stopgap technological solution that still looks stunningly modern and are well built to this day. It's a lot of that Sony mechanical mastery in its last eras. Old handheld consoles, number 2. Number 1, calculators. Now, the next one up, Gareth Hamer here, is one that it's the answer to a question I think many of us have asked. With, like, say, the Commodore 64, they had the Super CPU enhancement that plugged into the cartridge port and gave you a much faster CPU. So I've always had an interest, like one of my favorite computers, I've been on the lookout for what's called an Orchid 286. And it's a card that plugged into a PCXT. You remove the CPU and plugged in this connector that had a ribbon cable going back to the card. And on this card is a 8286. So basically it addresses the 8-bit bus through the 8086 socket. And it gives you a 286 upgrade to a PCXT. Now, it's got all sorts of bottlenecks. It's just pure novelty. Just to go, I'm running a 286 in this Tandy that could never run it. And that's the only reason I want to do it, for no other reason. But practically speaking, and I don't have the time to even consider creating something like this. And I get the principle of how it's done, but it's a big project. And I kind of always wondered, like, well, I wonder why nobody else has. And somebody's finally gone and done it. So they created what's called the 65 FO2. And what they did is they created a FPGA based device that it's done on a PCB with, DIP dual inline pins. So basically it's the same size as a 6502. And it's FPGA emulating a 6502, but it runs at effectively 100 megahertz. In perspective, the Commodore 64 and Apple and the Atari 2600, all those 6502 base computers ran at less than 2 megahertz. So that's a huge speed increase. So your first thought is, well, shit, I could throw in a 6502 100 megahertz into an Apple II or a Commodore 64. That sounds great. And then, of course, you go a little deeper and think, well, the memory can't talk at that speed. The bus can't either. Well, they built in some caching and some modeling systems. So it actually does. I mean, it can't make the memory go faster than it can, but it has like a memory scratch pad on board. So like if you want to run faster than the memory can run, okay. So now you're running a hosted computer in the slot, kinda, a little, but it's still executing instruction sets and, so I don't know. I mean, it's a novelty. It's what it's meant to do is stick in a 100 megahertz 6502 into something. Now, of course, the very first paragraph you read, the article's up on Hackaday, a beautiful read. They get not like super deep, but deep enough to satisfy, engineers' basic questions of like, well, how'd you do this? How would you do with this? They answer all those questions pretty substantially. Anyway, beautiful article, and one of the first things they tell you, oh yeah, it doesn't work in the C64, it doesn't work in this, doesn't work yet, obviously. But I could see this thing kind of like one of my favorite little devices, the PCB that converts, it uses a CPLD, and it converts RGB like from a EGA or CGA computer into a bitmap and then sends it out HDMI. So I can, hook this thing up to any CGA, EGA class computer and have HDMI out. Well, this is a lot like that. It's not going to work with everything at first, but it's just software. It's just improvements to let it work with everything. So I see great things coming out of this. So we'll
Before you
see,
move on,
yes,
we're going to invent a new segment because I've got 2 dumb questions. I'm going to make up a jingle on the fly. Here we go. I don't know what jingle this is, but it will play momentarily. These are dumb questions asked by UK Mike. There you go. So this is our new segment.
No such thing as a dumb question.
So, first dumb question is inspired by the last story. What's to stop whatever you're running on this 65FO2 just running ridiculously quick? Like you remember you would install, say, King's Quest on a newer computer like a Pentium 4 or whatever. The game would just run ridiculously fast. What's to stop anything you're trying to do on a 6502 from doing that?
Well, so technically, I wish Random was here for this and not nursing one of his vegetable hangovers. There is, so in programming, I'm not a developer, I'm not a programmer. If you look at early Apple games, right? The Apple had fixed specs. So there was no need for it to compensate for different clock speeds. So certain games like Montezuma's Revenge, if you ran them at a faster clock speed on a faster Apple, it just ran. It was unplayable. So either the game ran well, but it just ran too fast to play, or it just didn't run because it couldn't run at that speed. So the same thing is true of the PCXT, but only a very small amount of early software had no real ability to compensate for speed, right? Now, programmers did that in different ways. My understanding, some early methodologies were just throwing junk calculations to slow it down. and obviously that you would have a super fast CPU would exceed that method, but I don't think that method was used much, and certainly any software after just the various early days, anything that will run and run game wise, there's no need to really speed regulate like a word processor. But any game that runs great on, say, an 8088 and a 486 almost certainly would run fine on a accelerated CPU of this flavor, right? So I would say, like, if I was sitting around the round table with other people and we're like, okay, we're going to build this thing, how do we solve it? I think I would have said, well, everything I just said is probably a pretty small list. So what if we compile a list of those games, we identify those games, and we put in a routine to speed match and run those games so they don't misbehave. Random, can we do that? Can you write code to do that? Okay, great. Then I would proceed with my hardware knowing that Random can build code that would do that.
Right.
That would be my solution to that problem. At least my initial approach. Now, that might not hold up scrutiny. I might say, hey, Random, he goes, yeah, but it's fucking stupid. We wouldn't do it that way. We do it this way. Okay, well, that's a better way. Let's do it that way. I'm just here to make the chip work on the board.
Yeah. So Spinal in chat says there should, in quotes, be a milliseconds based delay in the game code rather than counting CPU ticks or screen frames.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's a lot of different ways that they compensated for faster computers in the same CPU family as things went on. So yeah, I know. I just remember. I think it was on the Apple. I remember reading an article quite some time ago about them throwing in junk calculations to slow it. But I imagine that would be a horrible idea for many, many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that was used. I think what he was saying definitely. But that would be that's how that discussion would look. Is you just go, all right, look, fixed speed games aren't going to run right. How do we adjust that? Well, we could do this, this, and this. So, like he said.
Yeah. Okay, closer to your area of expertise, perhaps. So I read a news story this week. It was on the BBC, so it may not be true. But there's a deep space probe, and I want to say Kepler. But
if you end up in the clink, we'll know what's up.
I want to say it's the Kepler, but I don't think it is. I think it's something else, and they said they asked it to perform like the first burn in 37 years or something, and it's billions of miles away, light years away or whatever. How the fuck do you tell it to do something like that? How do you communicate with something that far away?
Very slowly.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I'll give you the best example is Voyager. And there are so many great videos and articles out there. If you go to YouTube and you search Voyager software fix or hardware fix, you will see two things I think would impress you. One is how deliberately architected the computers used in early spaceflight were. They deliberately put a great deal of thought into the architecture of these systems. And we're talking, dawn of computer science, right? And they are churning out. If you look at the computers that run Voyager, they're not fast, they're not big, they move bytes. They're just very simple. But they're architected to be very robust, to do very specific things very well. So what they did is they identified, okay, the original software has this error or this shortcoming, right? So they had the ability to update that area of code, right? So they literally upload those blocks. Now, this is just a very slow and methodical version of what we do today. Like, all right, let's say you're going to update let's say you have a satellite. It has a flight computer, and that's the computer that fires the thrusters and turns on the torque bars and, spins up gyros and, it flies the platform, right? Then you have a payload computer. Now, the payload computer, it could be a camera and then send images back to Earth. It could have 6 antennas facing down, and it collects the data and sends it to a 7th antenna that faces down to a different station, whatever the hell this thing's going to do, right? So you need to update, say, the flight computer software because you need to correct for errors. Let's say that whenever you turn on your magnetic torque bars, which are electromagnets that push against Earth's magnetic field so that you can move the satellite without consuming fuel, right? So you think of like the needle of a compass, right? It it's in this oil bath, very viscous fluid. And when you stand there, there is enough force to shove that piece of metal through that viscous oil bath and stabilize. Now, it's tiny force in terms of, what you and I would consider force, but it's significant when you think about what it represents, right? So you have this ability to have something to push against. So let's say we want to yaw a spacecraft. Well, if we have an electromagnet that we turn on and it pushes against that magnetic field. Sorry, 1 second.
Hot damn.
Wow. So it pushes against that magnetic field, right? And we can calculate how long we need to turn it on for, how strong we need to turn it on, the intensity and all that. And then we measure our movement and, we move forward enough, shut it off, boop, little counter force, and we're in spot, right? So one of the problems with that is whenever you turn on these giant electromagnets, let's say it's for 10% duty cycle, right? So for every 1/10 of 1 whole second, this thing is on. Well, you have to shut off your magnetometer. Otherwise, your readings of your magnetometer are now corrupted by this giant electromagnet you turned on, right? So let's say that you have need or you have intrusion, like you're contaminating your let's say you want to get extra data from the magnetometer, but you're getting contaminated data because you're measuring during the period that your torque rods are turned on, right? So, but you don't want to lose that torque rod performance. Well, now you can concisely close up that window in which the magnetometer reads so that it's not going to get that corrupted data by having that torque rod on, right? So you would make that change, and then you would upload that segment of software, do a CRC, you would validate that software is valid in memory, and then you would reboot the computer coming up on the new software, so you have a bootloader that points at version 2, and if something goes wrong, you can go back to the bootloader and point back to version 1, because let's say that software, that change you made that seemed innocent enough, even though you tested it in the ground, or said you did, even though you tested it on actual hardware called a qualification model, or said you did, and then you set it up there, it fucks up anyway.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that's more or less. So the process, whereas we're talking, kilobytes, megabytes, maybe even gigabytes worth of software. In the case of a sophisticated payload computer is doing signal processing, you might have gigabytes of data. This is just that on a slower, smaller scale. So when Voyager is way out there beyond heliopause, it takes days for tiny bytes to get out there. They make those changes, rewrite that code, in memory, and then that code comes flying back to Earth. They evaluate it, compare it against, what they meant to do. Yes, we're good. Okay, conduct a restart. Or if you can just read that code in hot while the CPU is running, which in many of these systems you can, because it's a real-time processing system. Man, I tell you what, it's a topic that deserves a 2-hour video, not a 2-minute discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, go to YouTube, and in abundance, you'll find answers to exactly how they did that.
So, follow-up dumb question. When we send information out to Voyager, does it go it's not like in a beam straight to it? Is it just go everywhere, and everyone gets it?
Actually, no, it kind of is. In fact, it very specifically has to be. So, you've heard of antennas referred to in, dB of gain, right?
Yeah.
All right. So an antenna has no amplification mechanism. You can't just, I've got a 10 dB gain antenna. Well, the antenna makes a signal 10 times, but that's not how that works.
So I've heard that in the context of, just boost the signal, but that also boosts the noise. So you're getting more crap.
Yeah, kind of, sort of has its limitations. So the gist of it is this. You've got, say, Voyager out here, right? One of the most important things that Voyager does is know where Earth is and point its directional antenna towards Earth, right? So if you broadcast in an omnidirectional range, you're expending your power in all directions, right? If you focus that into a tight beam towards the Earth, the tighter you focus it and more directed at the Earth, the stronger that signal strength will be, right?
Yeah.
And the same is true the other way. Now, at the distances we're talking about, being past heliopause, these dishes are freaking huge. I mean, we're talking like, those giant dishes they always use in like movies like Contact and stuff.
Yeah.
It sometimes takes multiple dishes plus an array of them just to be able to receive, and they are directional too. So they've got huge, bowls that reflect the incoming signal onto a very sensitive low noise amplifier that amplifies that signal. So, and then now they've been doing a lot of, not to overuse the term AI, but,
Too late.
pattern signal recognition that otherwise could not be fished out of the noise by previous technologies, right? Now, we use this all the time in ham radio. There's some neat stuff out there now where we can use, like, you can type and it goes over the radio, and you can literally you can sit there with the waterfall display and look at that signal and you cannot see it. But the computer can fish it out even though it's in the noise floor because it can find these patterns that otherwise wouldn't exist. So absolutely beautiful stuff, right? So it's a combination of enormous goddamn antenna with the Earth and Voyager precisely pointed at each other with the biggest dish that Voyager could carry, a huge dish on Earth, and then tons of computer power on our end to fish out that signal and make sense of it. But, yeah, that's basically the gist of it.
All right.
If that answers your question.
It certainly does. We need an end theme now that we'll make up on the fly.
Stupid questions with Mike.
That was UK Mike's Dumb Questions. Barkbit in chat says...
James intro handy.
James on James. Yeah, I can dig out a James on James, yeah. Barkbit in chat says, that was fascinating stuff. He also said, I want to believe that V''J, does he mean Voyager, will come true at some point. Not sure what he means by that.
Maybe he means V'ger from Star Trek.
Ah, right, okay.
Was it V'ger?
I missed the
Vigo,
reference,
or
I don't know.
Well, okay, so remember the original Star Trek movie, where they find this thing that's coming to Earth, and it's like asking Earth a question, and it's not getting an answer, so it keeps broadcasting. And they get there, and they find the Voyager spacecraft hooked up to this giant alien amplifier, basically.
I don't
Never
know.
saw the original Star Trek?
I don't remember that, no.
Watch the original Star Trek.
So original Star Trek, I watched in the 70s or whatever. I've not gone back and made sure I've watched every episode. I've seen like.
Oh no, this is the original Star Trek the movie.
Yeah. Oh, the movie, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the plot of Star Trek the movie, is that Voyager came back to Earth as V'ger, and except now all of a sudden it's like this bald woman that's walking around. I am V'ger. It's like, yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense to me either. Like I said, not a giant fan, so.
Let me just try and do this. Here we go. It should. Was this the original? There we go. James on James, yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
It's James on James.
The original is always best.
Yeah. James on James, yeah. I've got one here. I don't know. No idea what it is. Neil James Aviation Facts. Let's give this a bash. What's this?
That's your Neil James Aviation Facts for you. Neil James Aviation Facts. Yeah.
Threw his brother in the air and let him land.
I've no idea what inspired Neil James Aviation
What
Facts.
Neil James Aviation Facts?
I don't remember that. That must have been in the drinking days. Wow, don't remember that one.
You know why they call it the blast off? I always have a blast before I take off. No way I'm going near that thing sober.
Oh, man. So from science to more science. The Catholic Church. Oh, wait. The Catholic Church canonizes its first gamer saint. and one of his favorite games was Halo. A teenager known as God's influencer, who loved video games and spread the gospel online, has been canonized as a saint. Carlos Acutis died in 2006 at 15 years of age from leukemia, but dedicated his short life to spreading awareness of the Catholic faith and helping the poor, and also played Halo. So he was canonized. Who knew?
That's cool. I actually had that one pulled up. Very nice little piece of history there. Oh, here's one from David Lanky. I'm fascinated to find out what. Okay. I see where he's headed with this. Random Dave here submits another reason to dust off the old iPod. It's funny. I was actually looking for something to do as like a Christmas player for doing like videos and music at Christmas time on just continuous rotation. And what I settled on is you can do that with a Pi a million different ways. But I found this neat little device that I had bought, 15 years ago. They still make it, called the Mika Spec. And basically it's a player. It's got HDMI out. It's got audio out. And it's kind of just plays anything. And it works really well. So I'm going to be using that as my Christmas media player. But anyway, so there are all 54 lost Clickwheel iPod games have now been preserved for posterity. Good. So last year we reported on the effort of classic iPod fans to preserve playable copies of the downloadable Clickwheel games. So Apple sold these for a brief period of time during the late 2000s, I guess 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. The community was able to get around Apple's Fair Play DRM by, here's how they did it, having people that owned original copies of those unavailable games sync their accounts to a single iTunes installation. And then the master library was built to get playable copies that they can load into iPods. Clever girl. So yeah, now all 54 iPod games are available. So I don't know if I'd ever bother, but I love it when you get around DRM so customers can actually play what they bought.
Yep. One here from Gareth Hamer. Emulator accuracy test for Nintendo. It's a YouTube video. I haven't watched it. It's entitled, How Inaccurate Are Nintendo's Official Emulators? It looks like it gets pretty technical. A lot of code on screen. I'm skipping through it. Very technical. Very technical. Very technical. But they're basically, as the title would suggest, seeing how accurate Nintendo's emulators are. Remember Nintendo, that company that says, you're not allowed to run our games in emulators, and then sold you games running in emulators with ROMs they'd downloaded off a ROM site? Do you remember that? That Nintendo.
Oh, I certainly do. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Oh, diddly. This one comes in from Peter Gibbs, and it's entitled 12. Why is it entitled 12? Well, if I could get rid of the ad, I would tell you. Atari put out a super tough Metroidvania the same day as Silk Song, and you'll never guess what happened. So Silk Song is the follow-up to Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was a massive sort of modern Metroidvania-style platformer. Silk Song is its sequel. And Atari launched, you remember we talked about it maybe last month or the month before, they had helped someone finish a platformer to release as an indie game, but they'd called it Adventure of Samsara to tie it into Atari's own, IP of Adventure, even though it's no relation to it whatsoever. On the same day that Silk Song launched, 12 people bought the Atari game. Timing, people, timing.
Azov Cave's back on because he woke up. Just
in in the background of the Azov cam, there's an attract mode going on. What's that on? Looks like a CRT. It looks like Atari.
It is if you know, there's actually two 2600s, one on top of the other.
Mm-hmm.
That's accidental. I just realized that. That is Vanguard running on Atari 2600 because I was playing Vanguard earlier.
Right, and that's just the attract mode from that game.
Yeah. So if
Right.
I were to grab the ye oldie time remote here. We could start into Vanguard.
Well, look at that. Yeah, I caught a glimpse of it earlier on the earlier cam, and it looked like a couple of different games. It looked like it was maybe Scramble or Defender, and then the side scrolling, and then a vertical scroll. So yeah, I didn't realise it was Vanguard. Very nice.
Well, you forgot the theme song. Stupid questions with UK Mike.
Yeah.
Well, got a couple here I was going to blaze through real quick. Mike, what do you think about another half dozen out of these?
Yep.
All right. So this one, Gareth Hamer again. And this article, I thought, I'd love to take a look and see what they do with this. Well, you can't. So Retro Dodo, who put an article on Game Watch, is behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Guys.
I noticed that. Who was it sent that in? Because I meant to tell him we can't see those. Gareth Hamer. Gareth, we can't read those.
I'm not registering and subscribing so that I can see the pictures of Game Watches you downloaded from Google Images. Sorry. But I was curious what they had to say about it. It's probably just a nice, concise list of Game Watches, but compiled from other open sources, then they paywalled it. But, yes, 72 being, I guess, the first, what would be considered a Game Watch. I'd be curious what they consider as the 72 entry. Up through 2025, I think obviously being something like the Atari Game Watch, but neat idea. And then I have, where was it? Yeah, Virtual Boy news. And this comes in from Charlie, and he says, is this April 1st? And, that's loud. So IGN rolled out a trailer for the Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics, and I don't know, man. You never know. It is they show this like shell, right? And they open it up, and I guess you slide in your Nintendo Switch, and then you close the lid. And the problem I have with all this is like a third of the Switch is hanging at the bottom of this thing. And it just doesn't make sense. But I don't see any technical reason they couldn't do this on the Switch. Like, this could exist. If they made a Virtual Boy, like this Vectrex, right? It would be no more cost or expensive to build a new Virtual Boy than it would to be, to build like a new Vectrex. Nintendo would never allow it. I mean, can you imagine Nintendo allowing somebody to make a Virtual Boy that has all the games built in for a fair price? They'd rather die first.
Mm-hmm. No, I can't imagine that. Ever.
And then one last one here from Peter Gibbs. Paid DLC before a game releases. I'm well into Pokemon at this point, but advertising paid DLC before a game's release is a bit much. At what point is it just part of the game and should be included with the purchase price? I will buy it, though.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't have an argument with DLC. Like, game expansion packs. Like, I think about the baseball model, where every year you would get like a new disc that would have the updates for that year. I've never had a problem with that. There are avenues that, like, anytime I have ever sat down in the same room with Gary Stern, I have said to Gary, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you last time I saw you. How do you feel about new software for old machines? Case in point, 18 years ago, I called you and you had Sally in the office sell me a pre-production, Family Guy. I still have it to this day, but I'm on the same software as I was in 2008 when you did your last update. What about having your developers go and create new modes, new rules, new adventures for existing tables? And I'd buy it. I'd happily buy it. Well, it's not something we really talked about. I don't know. It's an interesting model. I'm like, come on, man. I would love that. So I'm not mad at them for coming up. I mean, obviously, okay, during the Nintendo era, that was impossible. You couldn't have like a update to Castlevania. Can't be done, right? And that was a cartridge-based system. But I'm today, okay, if they came out with a DLC for like they did with the Atari at 50, and they came up with some updates, I would say fair enough. It's a year later. That's fresh work. Didn't warrant its own application. Making it free makes people love you forever because they don't ever feel like they can't wait to buy your next product because you did them right. So maybe think that one through, guys. Maybe think it through.
Yeah, so a few quick fire ones here. One from Charlie. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company pick up a patent on summoning a character and letting it fight another. I'll repeat that. Summoning a character and letting it fight another. Probably specifically aimed at the game Pal World, I would imagine. But a patent on that? A little bit dubious. Maybe someone has got a new cigar. Or Villa. I don't know. This one was from Gareth Hamer. Tetris meets Snake in a new Game Boy game. It's called Orm Block. So I did give this a try. It's got a few shortcomings, but the premise of it is good. I do like it. I've still got it loaded up. So you play Tetris, but you build up your play field and you leave a few holes in it. And then you have a snake at the bottom, and the snake goes around and munches up all the holes, and you get points accordingly. So interesting premise. I need to learn to play it a bit more betterer. A video that popped up on the algos for me on YouTube, Mortal Kombat 1992, all fatalities. And then once you watch that, you'll get all the other versions of Mortal Kombat and its fatalities. Just interesting to watch those back to back. And finally, Scott, one you may or may not be interested in. A couple of people sent this in. Let me just give them due credit. CK sent it in, and Gareth Hamer sent it in. Golden Axe is being unofficially ported to the Atari 2600, and there are some screenshots.
I've got a Harmony cartridge here.
Oh yeah,
I've got an SD card, and I just downloaded that.
Let's download that. Welcome to a new segment. If only it had a jingle. Maybe it does.
Just use the one from the other one.
Let's try this one. Oh, we know that one. That's the motherfucker dropped me on my arm, yeah. Let's try this one.
Based on a true story.
Let's download that.
Yeah.
Are you going to play it, or are you going to save that for later?
I'm doing it right now, Michael.
All right. This really is
if I can find
live.
There we go. I've got so many damn. I ended up getting this 2 terabyte SSD. Or what do you call them? God damn it! It's a Salt, the M2 or what? Where the ECC? Whatever the fast one is.
Yeah, the M2.
Thank you, 2.5, whatever the hell. But anyway, I got this 2 terabyte Samsung one, and I just created the volume. It's called the download, and it's attached and mounted as a directory to my download directory. So now I've got 2 terabytes to dump shit in before I sort through it. Let's rename this to cancel, piss off. I'm just going to rename this title so it's a little shorter and easier to find. All right. And then I'm going to paste it onto the SD card thusly. And
For those listening to the podcast, yes, we're playing video on an audio podcast. Deal with it.
That'll happen.
Imagine
All right.
if we had created the medium of video with audio.
Be the first ever. Not since the talkies of the 1920s has such a thing been attempted. All right, Michael, it booted,
All right.
and
We can't see
let's see.
because
Oh,
there's a Maine Coon in the way. There we go.
fuck, bro.
The fuck?
Can't tell. Yeah, he's still out of the way.
See, this is why you should be in live news. Then you can watch the actual video.
I don't see it listed.
Uh-oh.
It might not like that naming convention. Oh boy. Go fish. Go for Gorf. It didn't list it. I might not like the double naming convention. Give me 1 sec, and we will. We will rename that.
Apologies, listeners. This is the downside of live. Did I have a clip for that? What's the? Do you remember
The
Bill
downside
O'Reilly?
of live.
The Bill O'Reilly thing. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Have you
We'll
seen
do it
that?
live.
Have you seen that clip?
Oh yeah.
I've not got it, but trust me, it's very amusing.
Mike, you may not believe this.
What?
I have this SD card reader,
Yeah.
and I think it just failed. Like
Uh-oh.
the actual contacts just pushed in. I think
Oh damn.
it's like peace out. I'm not working. God damn it! And that thing was like a week old too. I think it's just. Well. All right,
Gosh
we're gonna
darn.
get this done. We'll do it live.
We'll do fuck it, we'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Let's see. I have potentially. I thought I had another SD card reader, USB thing laying around, but I guess I don't, Mike. I don't think we're gonna get this
my
done, man.
God.
Yeah.
I use a common laboratory power supply to supply bulk power to our system.
That's the kind of dumb fuckery we're at right now.
A common laboratory power supply.
Welcome to the Retro VGS lab.
Oh.
Yep, that damn SD card reader, on the interior of it, the little PCB that holds the receptacle for the SD card just folded over and broke.
Damn.
And I do not have any other reader handy. So, sorry, bro. Ain't happening.
Oh man. We built it up so much. We were building and building through all those news items.
Literally can't
We
rename
were
the
building
file.
to a climax, and then at the last hurdle, we failed.
Somebody pulled up in the driveway and
Feels
ruined
like
the whole thing.
it feels like such a downer. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
I got kicked in the
I don't know
head.
how we'll get past this.
Well, We ain't getting past it while I seen Golden Axe on the Atari.
No, that is true.
My bad.
So we are going to wrap up. We've been doing this for quite a while now. We do have some stories left. We will roll them over. So if you haven't heard yours yet this month, don't worry. We've still got it. It's right there. I'm looking at it. Thank you for everyone who joined us live and contributed. Thanks for those who joined us live and didn't contribute. I noticed the numbers going up and down a bit earlier. Thank you if you're listening back to the podcast later. Don't forget, if you are at Blackpool, Spinal, I know you're still there in chat. Are you going to Blackpool? It's about time you went to Blackpool. I want a response in chat before we go. Nobody's leaving until Spinal responds.
Speaking of waiting for that, I was reading BarkBit's post here. He bought a 1 terabyte M.2 drive for computer build. They sent him a box of the drives. He has 9 drives.
Nice.
That's where you see those PCI Express cards that plug in that have the racks for the M2s.
Yeah.
You just built yourself a 3 terabyte RAID.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh no! If you did RAID, was it the striping with the redundancy? You could probably get what 6 terabytes off of 9 of those with full redundancy.
Yeah, you could do 5, you could do 6, you could do 10. Spinal says he hasn't been to Blackpool since he was 7 or 8 and he's not going back. But we'll be there. That's the whole point.
It's gotten better.
There's actual video games and shit. Come on.
They hung one of the letters back up on the Norbreck.
They did. I've got the other one
Now
here.
it's Norbreck.
I've got the N. I just need the O and the Breck, and then I've got the full set.
Well, let's come back with some of it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get arrested for stealing UK hotel signs anymore. Not unless you spot something offensive with the letters.
No, you don't get arrested for stealing them. You get arrested for tweeting about it.
Yeah.
So steal it, but just don't tell anyone online. You'll be fine.
I'm in.
Don't worry
Let's
about
do
it.
it.
Okay. So, yes, Scott will be here in mere days. Soon it will be mere hours, and we will be in Blackpool. Don't forget, if you're there and you want to catch up with us, we'll be in the booth most of the weekend. And we will be in the Discord chat. If you want to find out where we are at any particular time, drop a message in the Discord channel called Blackpool 2025, and you'll find us. And yes, thank you. On with the show and all of that good stuff. And we will see you again next month for more live news and shenanigans. We may even have another American and another British person with us. You never know your luck. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.